female basketball OSBA Game of the Week, featuring the Lincoln Prep Huskies and the Caledon Cougars. Caledon off with the tip, and they're off to the races.
Yeah, quick start here. Max go jump ball right into the action, which is pretty typical of what we were expecting here at the Game of the Week. It's been a good showing thus far. Expecting another good one here tonight. Caledon's been a nice upstart to the OSBA season. Lincoln, one of the preseason favorites that's been delivering so far.
Knocked out of bound off Maskowicz there. It's going to remain Cougar ball. A little zone action here for the Huskies early. See how Caledon responds.
Lincoln's done a nice job early in the season of mixing up the defensives that they're using. So we're talking now based on out of bounds. Maybe their set defense is going to be a zone, and they've also done a nice job showing some pressure early in games just to see if they get the flow disrupted of their opponents.
Zingaro driving against his own, tipped away by Maskowicz. Here comes the Huskies. Unable to finish the follow there for Maskowicz, and Zingaro cleans up the miss for Caledon. Right down the other way, and the shot is a bit long for full long. Huskies ball. Maskowicz's pass is picked off, and right away the Cougars come back. Unable to hand it there by Dodig. It's an up and down affair here early, Steve.
Yeah, we'll watch what Caledon does to respond to this, but you got to think this is exactly how Lincoln wants to play. They do a lot of things on the defensive end to create easy buckets for their offense, and they're at their best when that's happening. So, as we said, they'll press, they'll run some people at you, they'll play zone trying to get offense going. Right now, that pace is fitting what they want. I wouldn't be surprised to see Caledon do something here, try and mix up that flow.
And there's Becker using her size mismatch down low, shooting over Dodig, and she's able to get the first 2 points of the game.
And here's that pressure early on again, just to see if they can disrupt what Caledon's doing, get the game, or continue to have the game playing at a high speed.
Ooh, and there we see it. Turnover right to Hall, and she's off to the races the other way. And
I think it's, obviously everyone's at their best when they get these easy buckets, but this is what Lincoln really prides themselves on. They do a wonderful job creating them, so they get a lot of those opportunities, and then like most teams, they're extremely efficient within that.
Again, a steal by Hall. The pressure paying early dividends here for the Huskies.
And there's usually some tiers of this, Max, so you're going to get some turnovers and easy buckets.
The three is a bit off by Maskowicz. Rainford follows up with the offensive rebound. She's going to be pushed out of bounds. Foul on the Cougars.
Sorry, to finish that thought, usually early in the game they're going to have the success where they're getting the turnovers and the easy buckets. That's one stage. You could still stay in this when you get to the next stage, which is Caledon's breaking it but still playing fast. So I think you're going to let it go through each of those phases in its entirety before you even get out of that pressure.
A little tangled feet there by Rainford. Huskies able to retain it. Woo, risky pass there, just out of the reach of Zingaro. Maskowicz is going to be fouled on the drive.
And one thing we all get sucked into, and Zingaro took that chance that time, but when a team's turning you over, when they are pressing, you start to take some chances yourself on the defensive end. It's going to be a test of their patience for Caledon in the quarter court to ensure they stay in front of Lincoln, force them to take one shot over while it's contested, because they're going to have a challenge with the uncontested baskets coming at them.
And out of the baseline, out of bounds, Rainford right through the defense to the basket. She's able to convert for two. There's that pressure right in front of us, and it's going to be a reach-in foul there on Becker on Zingaro. It's going to remain Cougar ball.
Lincoln does a nice job putting their two big athletes in the front of it when you got Becker and Maskowicz in the front. Then Becker does a nice job tracking this one down. She probably took a little bit of a flat angle coming to the sideline, but you had the ball dead, you have it on the sideline. The last thing you want to do is foul there. So I bet they'll talk about that in their first time out with her. Just as a reminder, just chase that down, be a presence on the pass.
A nifty move there. Dodig cutting off the defender. Works it around. The three-point attempt is a little bit off there from Fulong. It's going to be Husky ball. Woo. Little tangled feet, but goes right back to the Huskies. Work it around, and there's Hall down low for the easy basket. It's now an 8-0 lead for the Huskies.
And that's part of it when you play in this pressure and change the defense is you want it to be a bit of a scramble. So the other team's not set. They're trying to find a matchup, and you're just hoping one or two times you find something like that. Hall underneath the basket without anyone knowing where she is.
Good job for the Cougars, able to break it, but in the half court, Hall's able to come down with another steal, her third of the game early on. Right back the other way, and Caledon gets their hands on it. Here comes Dodig with the lefty. right around Becker. Caledon's first 2 points of the game.
I think Doak has been a real nice bright spot for Caledon early in the year.
The 3 by Maskowicz in transition, a little bit off. The fight for the rebound. We're going to have a foul on Hall.
And it's going to finish the thing on Dodik, who I think's been great early for them. But you could see the attention she's getting. So the first time they got down the quarter court, and the first time they're really trying to run some offense for Caledon, you could see the extra attention Lincoln was given to that handoff action at the top. So they chased right through that. They're trying to blow up that action, keep Dodik out of the centerpiece of their offense. That'll be an interesting and key, I think, for Caledon to come back to, is get her involved and find ways to have her getting touches.
2 seconds ran off. Oh, sorry. 6 seconds ran off the shot clock there. It's going to be out of bounds off Maskowicz, remaining Cougar ball.
It doesn't, unsure if Caledon's aware yet of the time on it. You can hear Lincoln bench trying to ensure that the referees are aware of the time left, but we'll see where the inbound pass goes. You want something with a chance to go forward here.
And they do get it right to Zingaro at half court. They're able to get over. Here's Zingaro on the low block working against Maskowicz. Low shot clock here. We have 2 on the clock. Just subbed in. Jovin shot is blocked there by Becker. It's going to be shot clock violation, Husky ball.
Now that's a nice block. That's a great way to challenge shots. So Becker keeps herself away from the contact and then finds the release point to challenge that shot. So what we mean is not reaching to the body, but yeah, waiting for the spot where the ball is going to leave the body, and that's where you make the challenge at. Then if you miss, you're not in risk of a foul.
Tipped away, ends up in Maskowicz's hands though. She looks to attack, right to the right hand, unable to finish, but she's going to be fouled on that attempt. 2 shots from the line.
And I think that's what you want to do when you see pressure against you. So Caledon extends their defense to the full court to 90 feet. So when you get a chance to move to the front court, now you get 2-on-2 and all that space to work in. So you get Maskowicz seeing that as like a one-on-one opportunity, essentially, just goes right down the middle of the defense.
Maskowicz able to convert her first point of the ball game. And hits the second. 2 for 2 from the line. Little pull up there in transition for Dodig, just off the mark. Husky ball.
Thought Becker did a much better job in that first trap that time we talked about. She ran back in the middle of the floor, taking away some of the passing angle.
Again, Dodig with the steal. She's coming the other way. Again, Becker tries to challenge. This time I think she got a little bit tied up there by Rainford. It's going to be 2 shots for Dodig.
Again, I thought Becker did a nice job tracking that shot as well. So when she's running that thing down, it's almost the same when we talked about the habit for most defensive players when they come in there is they try and swipe down, go towards the body for that to try and challenge it. But Becker, again, kind of kept her hand up above shoulder height and was trying to find the angle where the ball was coming out. So staying out of the foul and challenging the shot. Unfortunately, this one, Rainford had her hand on the offensive player, but I thought the key takeaway from that was actually Becker's attempt at blocking the shot.
First one a little bit too strong there for Dodig. Here comes her second. And it's good. Dodig carrying the scoring load early for the Cougars. All 3 points are hers. It's a 10-3 Husky lead.
This has calmed down a bit now, so we'll see what Caledon responds at the pace has settled into the game.
Well, cross-court pass to Balyabiakubo. Her 3 is off. Hall retains possession. So 10 seconds left on the shot clock, though. Looked like a great defensive possession there for the Cougars, but a late foul there on Jovin. It's going to be Husky ball on the side, 14 on the shot clock now.
And you got to trust the officials who's ran the play to have had a great view of that. I think more importantly for Caledon, you like the effort. You get people now diving on the floor trying to make something happen. There was a deflection at least before the foul. Then you get people trying to go pick up the deflected ball for a steal. So that's a foul you take right now, trying to get this team going. It's a defensive thing they can build on.
They're looking for Maskowicz down low, drawing a lot of attention. Martindale cutting on the baseline, and they find her. 2 points, Martindale, 12-3.
Yeah, interesting show there by Caledon. They really, I guess, showed their hand, sent 2 towards Maskowicz before the ball even arrived. So a commitment from them to double, which is great. It sends a clear message of what you're trying to show defensively.
Tipped away for Becker for an easy transition basket, extending the Husky lead by 2.
You know, these are the ones, it's easier said than done, but these are the ones you really have to minimize right now if you're Caledon. You can't allow these easy breakout points. We talked at the beginning, there's going to be 2 tiers, and they got to get to that second one where at least they're breaking the pressure.
Again, another steal from Becker in the full court. And right back again, Dodig with a steal of her own. Those two filling up the stat sheet early on. And Hall comes with a steal on Joven. Huskies back the other way. Maskwich driving, unable to finish, but she's fouled. She'll be at the line for 2 again.
Just a split second behind there. Caledon was closing or chasing all of the play, about just a partial of a second behind as Maskwich got that one and was putting the ball on the floor attacking. Caledon was still running at her. Runs in towards 2 defenders, so nice job drawing a foul going towards the rim. But Lincoln right now half a step ahead, and it's showing on the scoreboard.
Maskwich a bit off on the first. That foul, last foul was on Culp. That's her second of the game, so she is subbed out. Checking in is number 14, Malinauskas.
Caledon's going to find something now to get through this pressure and get Dodig involved on offense.
Rattles out. It's going to be off of number 7 there, Brooklyn Johnson. It's going to be Caledon ball coming back.
Lincoln changed up their pressure front on this one now, so still staying in pressure but giving a different look. Wouldn't be surprised they probably pocket that last one, the success they had, and probably going to come back to it here in the first half, but now just give Caledon something different to talk about and look at before any changes are made.
Full court man here. Lincoln against Caledon. We have Joven working against Becker. Little lost dribble there. Right back the other way, the Huskies. Little miscommunication there between Gucker-Wicki and Becker. It's going to be off of them. Cougar ball.
Yeah, tough from this angle. We're behind a bit, but most likely the scenario in that for Gucker-Wicki had to get that and then go right to the rim. That's not one you can probably pass back. The defense and everyone's just going to run through that path line.
Trapped on the sideline. Dodig a little bit of trouble. Pass out, but a kick there by Johnson. It's going to be a reset on the shot clock. 24, Caledon ball.
It'll also reset the backcourt clock, so they have plenty of time now to ensure they get this thing over half under control.
Joven able to get around Becker, but then tied up by Maskwich. It's going to be a foul on Lincoln.
I like that play on offense, and I think that's undersold a bit at times. That you come across half there, you get by the first defender, and the instinct for a lot of us when you get by that first layer is to put your head down and go to the rim. But what she did on that was a bit of a hesitation, draw the defender towards her. Now when she exploded forward, it drew that foul, that contact. So, again, a bit of a subtlety, but the foul drawn and then who you got on Maskwich in this scenario is a big plus sometimes over just trying to fight your way to the rim.
Jackson's there pass was a little bit too high for Malinauskas. It's going to be off of Caledon. Remains Lincoln ball.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. I think there's just a little confusion there. They had one cutter going on top of the other, which is fine, but in that action, the pass went through the line of both offensive players. A little confusion of who it was for.
Great move there by Maskwich, getting to her left hand, but unable to convert. Caledon comes down with it, and they're coming right back the other way. Joven gets to a pull-up, a little bit too strong. Crooks down with the ball for the Huskies. Martindale tied up on the end by Dodig. She passes ahead to Joven. Tied up trying to contain the ball there. Huskies get right back the other way, and Johnson's shot's no good. Right back to this track meet we had early. Let's see how Caledon responds. Dodig, the top 3, just a bit short. Cutting Maskwich pass just a too high for her from Martindale, but Huskies retain it. Crooks gets in the lane. Floater's a little bit short. Caledon again looking to push. Great pass there from Dodig, finding a cutting Brown, but her shot is blocked by Maskwich. Out to Joven for a deep 3, too strong. Huskies down with it. Martindale's pass is then picked off. Another steal for Dodig.
This is a real interesting challenge for Caledon in the sense that I think they like to play fast. They've shown that already this year that they like to play up and down themselves. But early on, it's been, I feel, in my opinion, it shows it's a strength of Lincoln if this thing is going to be up and down and scattered between these two teams. So the challenge for them is to talk about what kind of changes do you want to make to this right now? Are you going to get away from what's been your strength, or are you going to just cut your losses as a younger team, which they are in the OSBA, a fairly young roster, and use this as a learning curve against a team with a bit more experience and probably a bit more strength in the game that you want to play right now.
And that last field goal made by Jovan was a long two. Foot was on the line, so it's now going into the first timeout, a 14-5 Lincoln Prep Huskies lead over the Caledon Cougars.
I think there's two fronts to this timeout here too, Max. It was probably a little later than we anticipated. So Caledon's going to now have a chance to talk about the pressure they're seeing and really what the next step they have to take, which we've alluded to a couple times, is just getting the ball safely across half. And usually if that's the only step you're taking, you're going to have a hard time running your set offense. But they need that step right now to alleviate this pressure of what's going on with Lincoln and the easy buckets against. On the other hand, Lincoln has already shown a couple different fronts. They've got a couple of things now to have Caledon mixed up. So an interesting challenge or opportunity for them now is what they're going to do coming this timeout to keep them guessing a bit. You've had such success when you showed the two forward front. Then you went to a full player-to-player, and that was causing some problems as well now. So do you come with something different at this point to keep Caledon guessing, which will then occupy this timeout and most likely the quarter break, or do you go back to one of your strengths and just see if you can continue to make some more happen and push this lead?
Great, and what we saw last week was the press from Lincoln throughout the game ended up paying great dividends at the end after wearing out the Kings guard. So we'll see if they keep on that press and see in the second half if that has paid a toll on the Caledon guards later on. Out of the timeout, here comes the Huskies. Hall with the ball on the right wing, looking for Granum down low. Granum gets to her left-handed hook, and it's good.
No, you gotta love that right now if you're Lincoln. You make a sub, you have a timeout, you clearly draw something up to go inside to your young forward. You get her the ball, which is the first part of coming out of timeout, and then she just goes to work and finishes with the left. That's pretty much as perfect as that whole scenario could have gone for them.
Malinoskis just lost the ball there on the handle, tipped away there to Lincoln, and Lincoln comes right back the other way, and Johnson's long two is good.
Nice find there too. Gucker-Wicki gets all the way into the paint, draws the second defender, then makes a real nice pass to the corner. So that shot's created by heading to the rim.
Here's Brown probing on Granum, tries to find a cutting Dodig who's going to be tied up there. She is fouled, so it's going to remain Cougar ball.
This will be a bit for Caledon. So we talked about last time of what they're going to do. They're going to stay playing pace, and it looks like they are going to continue to go up and down. They made some changes as to what they want in the quarter court. So using that information now, we'll watch how Dodig is going to respond to this, because they're going to need to get her involved, get her touches, making decisions. And we've seen that Lincoln's put a real big emphasis on trying to keep the ball out of her hands.
Dodig able to convert the first.
And not too often you say this, but Lincoln, obviously the foul puts you on bonus. You don't typically wouldn't want to say it's a good foul. You want to stay those scenarios. But I think in this case right now, with the importance of Dodig to that team, you actually take the foul, just keep her frustrated that she's not getting touches, not getting the flow on offense. Make her really earn it to get started in this game, just with how important she's going to be.
Able to convert both from the line, cutting the lead now 18-7 for Lincoln Prep. The pass there for Granum, a bit too strong. It's out of bounds. Cougars are going to have it. So here Lincoln remains in the full court. Let's see if Caledon can answer.
Appreciate Lincoln wanting to go back to that, though, to the success of the first one. Oh.
We had a little tie up there going for the steal. We're going to have the trainer come on and take a look.
I didn't see exactly how she landed. I mean, I saw the making the play on the ball. There's a couple bodies in front of us. I didn't see how she landed on that. Obviously, she looks like she's down in some discomfort. So we'll wait to see if we can get some word or an update on how that went. And you can see both teams are obviously quite concerned as how the player's doing down the floor.
Yep, best wishes to Crooks, and we'll be right back after the break. And we have back, so we have Skokin checking in there for Crooks. It's going to be Cougar ball on the baseline.
Yeah, good news is they got Crooks up standing on her own. They did as a precaution help her off the floor, but looked a little better than what we first thought. So that's the first sign of optimism. We'll see if we get any update once they have a chance to do a little more tests on her.
And we had Malinoskis there tied up by Hall. It's going to be jump ball going Huskies' way, so it's going to be Lincoln Prep ball here on the baseline. 48 seconds remaining in the first period. Johnson driving against Malinoskis. She's tied up, though. Caledon takes it out. It's going to be tipped from Hall off of Dodig. Remains Lincoln Prep ball.
Yeah, I like that little set there, though. The quick inbound over the top, and while people were looking up at Grantham, catching up overhead, Johnson already started the curl offer for the handoff. So you almost got defense fooled looking up, and you're running right beside them. Just half step away from getting a layup out of that one.
So we have a 17-second difference here. Shot clock, game clock, and Dodig comes up with another steal for Caledon. Driving against 3 Lincoln Prep Huskies and is going to be fouled. She'll be at the line for 2 more.
That's a great one to watch now. Dodig gets that steal. She's actually stuck in a crowd of 3 people, so it wasn't that she took herself into a bad spot. Just when she stole the ball, it came to her possession, she was already in a tough spot, but she drove using her body right into the defender to force that issue, and I thought that was a very savvy, mature level play to get in there and try and draw that foul.
Nice work, Dodig. Savvy. So we have Zingzagaro and Balia Byakubo both checking in on this foul. Dodig at the line for 2. A little bit too strong on the first. Here comes the second. And it's good. So we have 5-second difference now. Shot clock, game clock. We'll see how Lincoln Prep wants to end the first. Currently, we have 23 seconds remaining, an 18-8 lead here for the Huskies over the Cougars. Here's Gucker Wiki, a top 3-pointer, a little bit too strong. Caledon comes up with it. They have 10 seconds remaining. But Fanton's pass there is stolen away from Hall. 5 seconds, Lincoln Prep ball. And the 3 by Skoskin is just a bit off, and that takes us into the end of the first quarter. We have Lincoln Prep 18, Caledon Cougars 8. Dodig leading the Cougars with 6 points. Leading the Huskies are Becker and Hall, both with 4.
Yeah, and a quarter that I'm sure went a lot of the way that Lincoln probably drew that up. They got to come out, as we talked about, they like to usually start games in a bit of pressure. They did that, had a bunch of success. They actually got to get out of that before Caledon had shown they had a solution for it. Showed a man-to-man, full or player-to-player, full court defense. Had some success in that. On Caledon's side, I feel like in 18-8's never score you want to be in after one quarter, but for how the quarter went, it's probably about as positive an outcome as you could ask for right now. So they get a chance now with 3 more quarters to chip away at it. I mean, 10 points is something you could easily, with that much time, get back into. So they've got to just hit a bit of a reset, and I think minimize or eliminate, ideally, those easy baskets they're giving to Lincoln right now, which Lincoln's so good at creating.
And Caledon's also going to have to look for someone else on the team other than Dodig to step up scoring-wise. Currently with 6 of the 8 points, they need to try and find contributions from someone else as they chip away at this lead coming into the second.
Yeah, we talked about how important Dodig is to them, and they got her going, they got her established, and they actually kept her off the – I think she only had 1 field goal in the first quarter, so they kept her that. But Dodig found a way to get to some contact, get to the line, so she's doing her piece going, and she's going to be a key for them, again, as this game continues on. But as you mentioned, what Caledon's really going to need with that is to have some other people that can play off that. She's already drawing a bunch of attention. She's going to be able to need to now move the basketball, get some other people involved. But to make that happen, they're going to get through the pressure. Most of the stuff right now is in transition. Dodig's having to make it happen herself. So needing some support, needing to get some other people involved is going to start with getting the ball into quarter-court offense.
So coming into the second, we have a 10-point Lincoln Prep lead. For the Huskies, starting the second quarter, we have Grantham, Maskowicz, Skoskin, Bayakubo, and Hall. Starting for Caledon, we have Dodig, Fullong, Zingaro, Culp, and White. Caledon ball. Caledon finding around. Nice little up fate there by White. Fulong driving now. Colt finds a cutting Dodig and right back at it. Dodig, 2 more points.
Well, that's, what we just saw the time what they really needed. They come out in a set play. They run through the horns. I don't think they got their primary look. I mean, they ended up running through the entire possession, but they had the patience. A lot of people touch the basketball, and then it ends up back in Dodig's hands. So that's a pretty great start there for Caledon coming out of the first quarter break.
Bikubo gets right to the basket, but unable to convert. Sorry, Granham fighting for the offense rebound, tips it out of bounds. It's going to be Caledon Cougar ball. A new look here to try and break the press. They get Dodig the ball right in the middle, and she finds a way through it. Here's White over to Dodig. Calls for the screen with Zingaro. Zingaro gets to the left. She's going to be called for the travel, though. It's going to be Lincoln Prep ball.
I think as an athlete, though, that call often can be really frustrating. But the reality of what happens in that scenario is Zingaro, I think, fumbled a bit of the pickup. So you end up having a little bit of a shuffle step, extra step there trying to get yourself back to balance. But you're a little less aware of that because you bobbled the ball going to pickup, so you think you just took the 2 steps. But I think it was the right call.
Ooh. Little legs got tied up there with Granham's screen on Dodig. Here comes Caledon right back the other way. Fulong's attempt was there. That was White's attempt was blocked by Bikubo. Out of bounds. It's going to remain Caledon ball. A great matchup here early between Hall and Dodig. That is our matchup of the game to watch. Here. They have Fulong kick it to Dodig. Here's White driving on Maskowicz. Dodig at the top now again with the screen from Zingaro. Gets into the key, and her floater's good.
All does a great job trying to keep the ball out of Dodig's hands. And I think right now when she does have it, she's doing a good job ball pressuring her. She probably has to be a little aware of overcommitting to that ball pressure at times and getting Dodig to place the attack.
Here's Bikubo, the pressure defense by Fulong. She gets around it, though. Her floater's too strong. The fight for the rebound's going to be off Bikubo. Caledon ball.
Yeah, the last 2 offensive rebounds have gone off them out of bounds, so it is a team rebound for Caledon. That's the reality of it. But the other piece of that is they've been going to the glass. They're the ones getting the most hands on it. They're the ones getting the tips. That stuff usually works itself out. If you're Lincoln, you just keep going. You keep getting touches on the ball. You guys are going to get a couple extra rebounds out of that.
Caledon looking more comfortable with the press here as they get over. Look to attack out of it here with White. Trying to find Zingaro, it looked like in the post, but Lincoln's able to pick that off. Maskowicz to Becker in transition. Her pass is a little bit off for Rainford, so it's going to be Caledon ball.
Now that one snuck away, I think, on Maskowicz a bit. She had the dribble down. It was the right idea. It was the right timing for that pass to Becker, but I think the pickup from the dribble to the pass was bobbled a bit, and that threw off the timing for both of them and getting a spot where she could go finish it.
White there kind of stripped away by Bikubo. Huskies come right back the other way. Becker driving baseline. Kicks out. Bikubo's attempt was then blocked. Zingaro comes up with it for Caledon, and here come the Cougars.
And a little more control here. This will be a good set for them this time to establish they want to get going here on offense.
They now have Becker on Dodig. See if that can help bottle her up some, as she's had an early start to the second. And she's picked away at the top. Becker the other way, and her lefty layup is good.
It was a nice little steal there. They got the one-on-one matchup. Probably Caledon won it from the top, but Becker jumped right in there and got a hand on the ball. So she's doing her job on both ends of the floor. Great job in the press. Good job on offense, and now on the defensive end, she's doing it as well.
Tipped away there by Maskowicz. It's going to be Caledon ball. And we have Martindale checking in for Granham on that break. Becker is now off of Dodig as Martindale checks in, so we'll see. Lots of different looks they're throwing at Dodig early on in the game.
And you mentioned before, too, the compounding effect that can have over the course of the game. So it's one thing in the first quarter, it can be one thing in the first half, but by the fourth quarter, that can really take a toll if other people don't start to chip in and carry that workload with her.
In transition, Maskowicz is able to rattle in the 3, extending the Lincoln Prep lead back to 11. It's a 23-12 lead with 6:30 remaining in the second.
Yeah, you see the Caledon bench didn't like that one by Dodig. Not that it's a poor decision, not that it wasn't the right idea to get to the middle of the floor, but if you're going to catch it against pressure and you don't even square up or take a dribble to force that pressure to collapse, the next pass is almost playing right into their hands, which is atypical for the way Dodig had been thus far.
So a little jump pressure zone there look from Lincoln. Dodig's able to get around it though. Looking to attack. We have Jovin with the floater off the bank, and it's good.
Yeah, nice to see someone else going towards the rim. So Jovin's been probably the second option for them on offense.
Another transition look for Lincoln. That time's a little bit short by Martindale, but Baya Bukubo right to the glass.
Rebounding, really preventing the chance for Caledon to get back into this thing.
Rainford's shot was a little bit off. Jovin came down with the rebound. She's going to be fouled by Maskwich, going hard to the offensive glass. Cougar ball.
They still held it at 9. Like, you're still in striking distance in those pieces, but the offensive rebound is just taking away from the chance to build any momentum on the success they're having. Like, it would be a big – it would feel much better that you're now getting through the pressure, you're now getting to your quarter-court offense. Those are things you could be building on, but the offensive rebound just keeps deflating any air you pump into that success.
And we had Zingaro fouled there by Martindale in the full court pressure, trying to go for a steal. So it's going to remain Cougar ball. Dodig working against Maskwich here. A little confusion there with her teammate as she thought she was going to cut, but she thought she was going to stay back. So a little travel by Dodig.
Yeah, and that one I think you can live with more than what we talked about earlier, because now she's making something happen. She took Maskwich on, she drew the defender, then she was starting to go forward. Like, it's pretty good play, just a miscommunication.
Martindale right to the rim, unable to finish. Right back the other way, and Culp is fouled for 2. It's going to be Maskwich picking up the foul. Culp will be at the line. 2 free throws.
I bet Caledon now, we've got 2 or 3 of these now in transition, and I'm guessing that when they go back and watch this, their staff's going to end up talking to the athletes a bit about getting out in transition and then cutting off the line, meaning using your body to cut off the defender to go finish. Right now, they've just gone straight path, and that's left an angle for the shot blockers to come in there and challenge them. I think you'll do a better job drawing more fouls and give yourself a better chance to finish if you can establish what your angle is and take the defense out of that direct path.
Culp able to convert both free throws from the line. 2 more points for Caledon, and we believe that last foul on Maskwich was her 3rd. So she'll go to the bench here with 5:40 remaining in the second. Graham checking back into the game.
Well, that's a big I was unaware, and that's a big change in things there. She has 3 now. I mean, what you can't afford is to have her pick up a silly one early in the 4th, and that might change their look. They've had success now with her playing the front of that press, and you may not want to put her in that kind of situation.
Good pressure defense there by Caledon. Low shot clock here for the Huskies. They're down to 6. Becker gets it in the corner, and her long 2 is good.
I think, Becker's been just incredible all year. She's been really impressive in my mind. She's done it in so many facets. I mean, here she is now. She had to pull up earlier where she used her body to create space. She's shooting the ball well from the outside. She's rebounding well. She's been a great decision maker in transition. She's been a key to their press. I just have been thoroughly impressed by the impact she's had for Lincoln here in her first year in the OSBA.
A little bit off there from Jackson's attempt. And Jovin fighting for the offensive rebound, tipped out of her, off bounds. It's going to be Lincoln ball.
Yeah, and the left hand doesn't hurt for Becker either.
A little lefty magic over
Yeah.
here in Hammer. The Hammer. Here's Becker working on Dodig at the top. The double there on Johnson causing a high pass for Rainford. Able to corral it though, and she gets around Zingaro to the left hand and able to finish.
And you can just feel the frustration on that. I think there was some miscommunication there in the back end, and it seems to be one piece that the Caledon athletes continue to talk about is whose coverage on any breakdowns, and I'm not sure they're on the same page yet with that.
Zingaro unable to handle the full court pass. Coming back the other way, we have Johnson fouled there on the attempt. She'll be at the line for 2.
It's been, we're 4 minutes to go here in the second quarter, but it's been a long first half for Dodig. Not in a negative way, but just that she's had to carry so much. She's the most responsible for their press bake. She's the most responsible for their offensive pressure, and then she's getting extra attention when she's on the offensive end of the floor. So it's a lot wearing on you, and I think right now it's playing a little bit of a toll. She's having to make so many decisions for one team right now and so responsible to make the key decisions that she's had a couple in the pressure now where she's probably forced to pass or thrown it behind her teammates. And they probably need to find a way to get her a little bit out of that role just to give her a bit of a cognitive break, if nothing else. and maybe they'll use this timeout. Maybe coach is already on that. Use this timeout as a chance to give her a break.
So we have a timeout Lincoln here with 4:18 remaining in the second. Going into the timeout, we have a 28 Lincoln lead over the 16-4, the Caledon Cougars.
Caledon had made nice strides here in the second quarter of cleaning up what they were facing versus the pressure and how to get the ball from their own baseline down to the end of the floor. But we've noticed in the last maybe 90 seconds to 2 minutes that they kind of reverted back to some of the turnovers here. And that's the part that made a difference. So they hadn't really got all the way back in it, but they'd taken it from 10 at the end of the quarter to about down to 6 or so at one point, and now it stretched itself back out to 12. So the difference being just getting it out of your own end. And not to take away anything from Lincoln, they've proven to be tremendous at putting teams in that position and taking it from them, but Caledon's probably going to spend their time right now finding a solution to that. And I think one piece of it's going to be using Dodic, but also having some other options to ease the pressure and the demands on her throughout the course of 40 minutes.
Coming out of the timeout, here we have the Caledon against Lincoln's full court. Able to find a way right to the basket, and Doty gets her left hand and able to finish again.
Well, it's like Coach was just appeasing me. He puts Dodic at the front end of it just to calm me down. Could hear what I was saying, but I think it's a great change of pace. They get someone else make a couple decisions. Dodic gets to be on the other end of that and finish things off, takes a bunch off her plate. The cognitive stress of just putting a layup in versus making a decision, the pressure is a nice change for her.
And Lincoln tries to answer back with Becker's left wing three. Sorry, oh my goodness. Lincoln comes down with the offensive rebound though. Great defense here from Caledon as they get the steal right before the shot clock violates. Unlucky as they got tied up there on the full court pressure. Martindale comes away with it and gets an easy 2-point basket.
Yeah, that's a bit of how this game's gone thus far for Caledon. You work so hard to get a 24-second violation essentially, and on top of it, you steal at the exact same time, but you steal into a position where you're at a bit of a disadvantage and then can't get it out. So it went from such a positive to negative in a matter of seconds.
That was Brown who caught it right over the half-court line, was tied up there by two Lincoln defenders. It's going to be a jump ball between her and Becker. It's going to be tied up, going Lincoln ball.
That could be a tough spot for your forward at times, and I think when you face pressure in the backcourt, sometimes you're in a hurry to get the ball out of your hands and get it out of where seems to be the most relevant pressure, most immediate pressure, but in doing so, sometimes you put it to someone else that's not in a good position either, and in my opinion, it's a bit of that scenario there.
Rainford's pass for Hall was picked off by Joe Van. Caledon the other way. And the three by Jackson a little bit too strong. It's going to be Lincoln ball.
Yeah, Lincoln deserves a lot of credit, though. They're doing things well to keep all this stuff going. They're earning easy baskets with their defense, their offensive rebounding, which leads to easy baskets, and they're getting the ball inside. So all the things you want to do for success.
Rainford driving baseline, kicks out to Hall. The three is no good. Grantham fighting for the offensive rebound, but she tips it out of bounds. It's going to remain with Caledon.
Yeah, Grantham's giving them really great minutes off the bench there. She came in, we talked about the one of the timeout where she went right to work and scored. She's been extremely active on the offensive glass. And then one of those pieces that sometimes goes unnoticed is she's been doing a lot of work without the ball to seal position for an offensive rebound.
Great break here from Caledon. They try and find Dodig in transition. It tips over to her, unable to convert the rebound, the jumper, but Caledon retains it. Jovin, the long three, too strong. Lincoln grabs the ball.
That's some pretty good looks, though. I think Caledon's last three shots now, 2 3-pointers and one down there for Dodig, have been pretty good looks and things they want to continue here to try and claw back into this.
Here's Gucker Wicki, newly checked in, driving, kicks it out to a Rainford three, a little bit off. It's going to be Caledon ball.
Sometimes it doesn't always have an exact reason for it, but it just feels like teams are starting to build a little bit of confidence, and it seems like the last 90 seconds so, whatever it's been, most of Caledon seems to be getting a little more comfortable in this game. It could be partly getting it through the pressure into the front court and having that success, but on the defensive end, people do seem a little more engaged, or at least on the same page of who's covering what, and I think that's made a bit of a difference. So if they can build some success on that in the next 2 minutes, it might be a pretty good momentum builder for them going into halftime.
We have White trying to drive on Granham in the full court, 90 feet, and she's going to be fouled there, so it's going to remain Caledon ball.
Yeah, it seems like Lincoln's wanting Granham to put that pressure they want to use in the front, so it's probably something a foul they're probably willing to take right now and really just test and evaluate how much Granham can give you in the front of pressure, and thus far the results are positive.
White there tied up again on the sideline, but this time it's going to remain Caledon ball with the jump. Cougar ball on the sideline. Dodig again cutting to the basket. Kicks out to Fanton. The three is no good. White's follow. Stolen away there by Gucker-Wicki. Pressure there by Caledon, though, stolen away from Dodig, and she's going to be fouled by Hall.
And they've, as we said, Lincoln's done so many things to prevent a run happening against them. The rebounding, the buckets they've created, getting inside, things you do to keep momentum going in your favor. But to Caledon's credit, they've done a real nice job in the last few possessions to give themselves good shot opportunities, and just none of those ones have fallen. So I think credit also has to go now. Those two fouls of Polyps, the one they got in the front court and now this one from Dodig. Maybe they can get a couple of these points from the line and chip at this thing.
Dodig able to convert the first, and that Hall also was on. That foul was also on Hall. That's her second of the game, so that she was subbed out after that whistle. Dodig able to convert two again from the line. Lincoln lead now just 30-20 with a minute 30 remaining here in the second.
Let's see who Lincoln puts on Dodig now for the last 90 seconds of the half as well with Hall on the bench. Hall and Becker thus far seem to have done most of the work on that.
Here's Balivia Kubo, gets right into the key, and she's able to finish with the right hand.
That's a nice finish, and one that just kind of stems any tide that I've been indicating might be starting to build. She just neutralizes that by an easy layup right down the middle.
Caledon able to break through the pressure. Here's Dodig, gets a little turnaround jumper. The long two is good.
Wow, that's tough, Max. You come down, I mean, with a pace, you can make this shot. It's incredible. You come down to a pace that can get the defense on their heels. You got them running backwards, then you spin that thing to a fadeaway. That's tough to defend. That's a real big-time shot.
Ooh. A little confusion here as an errant buzzer went off, but it's going to be off of Dodig, remaining it with Lincoln.
And the athletes have been obviously well coached and rehearsed on this. That we've had a couple errant horns here in the first half, and it just seems like everyone just continue to play and go right through it.
On the baseline, out of bounds to get it right to Granham, who again gets to her left hand. It's no good. Dodig comes right down with the rebound.
It's a good move, though, again. You can see Granham's, having watched her last year, I thought she played a couple real good games, the ones that we were at. She does a tremendous job going to the glass, but I think tonight she's shown some evolution in her offensive game, and this one didn't fall, but still like the move, like the footwork, and getting herself to balance for the spin.
Here's Martindale driving against Dodig. Rainford on the left wing. Balivia Kubo drives right in and finds Granham in the key, but she's going to be called for three in the key before receiving the ball. Caledon Cougar ball.
You know, if it was me, I would be so pleased with how Granham's first half has gone. We've given her credit for the rebounding piece. She's been inside there working tirelessly, and the reason why I think she needs that praise is sometimes you get those 3 seconds in the key call, and it can be so deflating for an athlete, but really she was doing everything you want. She's around the rim. She's been going to rebound. She's been battling inside. Then, broken play drive, you're still hanging out there trying to get a dump off, and would have liked the half-second leeway to put that thing in.
And there we have it. At the end of the first, it is 32 Lincoln Prep Huskies to 22 Caledon Cougars. Leading the Cougars with 16 points is Andrea Dodig. Leading the Lincoln Prep Huskies with 8 is Nia Becker.
Yeah, they kept it at 10 from the first quarter to the halftime, which is, there were some ebbs and flows of that in the second quarter, but overall, as we said at the end of the first quarter, Caledon's got to be pleased in the position they're in based on how well things have gone for Lincoln in the first half. Lincoln's done a tremendous job creating easy points for themselves. It's a strength of theirs. Caledon now has to find a way to disrupt that flow and just chip away at this thing. You get 20 minutes, plenty of time, but probably need to make a couple adjustments to how things are going versus the pressure.
It'll be great to see how Caledon comes out and changes up their attack against the press again. We did see after the last time out a successful trip down the floor, but then a little confusion after that. So we'll see if the halftime can tidy up a few of that. And we'll be right back after this short break. And we're back to start the third quarter. Before we get underway, we're going to have the 3 keys to the game brought to you by Cocoa Juice and Milk Tea. Shout out, Cashier Callie at Booster Juice. This is for you, girl.
Max, I think the 3 keys really come down to what we've been talking about most of the first half, which is Caledon finding a way to get through pressure, get the ball over half, and give themselves a chance in the quarter court. I think the second thing is finding some other offensive options outside of Dodic, so Lincoln's ability to contain it to just either one person. And the third one is actually the foul trouble. We're really interested to see what happens with Maskowicz. As much as this is a 10-point game right now, if she were to get an early foul here and be in trouble, I think that's a big blow for Lincoln.
Great, and then right away, Maskowicz checking right back in and hits a 3.
You know, I guess the counter to that last one is if Maskowicz can make her contribution here in the first 5 minutes, and then it doesn't matter, but we will find out with the foul, I guess.
Oh, and there we have Maskowicz picking up that early foul you just mentioned, and that is going to be her 4th of the game. Lincoln electing to leave her in.
So, I mean, potentially leaving her in, just going to go for it, and that's fine. I think she can make the contribution right now. The other possibility may be that we don't have the correct count over here. But either way, it's an interesting storyline. I mean, if she's sitting with 4, it's a very high risk to think that at any point if there was a run against you that you wouldn't want to have Maskowicz still as an option in the game. In the time you could probably take a break is something where right now you've got a 13-point lead. This would be a chance you can ride out for a bit and see if the rest of the crew can keep it going.
And we do have our sideline reporter, Lynn, reporting over to the scores table, so we will keep you posted on Maskowicz's foul situation. Right away, Lincoln's press causing dividends as Becker gets an easy look from the short corner, and she converts. 2 more points for Lincoln.
Yeah, too bad for Caledon. They kind of broke out the neat little pass in between, a bounce pass, back cut, but got to the first layer, then turned it over to the second layer, and now they're still back almost how the game started, having trouble here in their own back court trying to get the ball over.
Correction, that was Maskowicz's 3rd foul of the game, so Lincoln electing to leave her out there with only 3 to start the 3rd. So crisis averted for the Huskies.
Yeah, 3 is fine. Now the scenario arises where if she were to get a quick one, you'd have to be forced into that decision. But you have stretched the lead to 15, and I'm assuming if there was that scenario that you have the room to give Maskowicz a quick break.
Dodig. A little tied up there on the shot. Ball bounced around. It's Husky ball. They're off to the races. Hall again finishes in transition.
That's how quick it could go. Caledon runs the inbounds play there. It looked like Lincoln actually had some confusion. No one matched up to get a wide open 3-point shot, but it misses. Instead of having this quality 3-point look, you're running off to a 2-on-1 for Lincoln. They get an uncontested layup. So, you know, the game can be cruel at times.
Here Caledon gets it to Zingara at the high post, working on Maskowicz. Offensive rebound chance again is no good. Huskies come away with the ball.
Rebounding battle continues to be a story here.
Maskowicz tied up there a bit by Dodig, but the ball bounces out to the Huskies on the outside. Rainford's 3 is a bit too strong. Hall's able to come up with it.
I think Caledon's going to have to do probably one of the things we should have thought about halftime is probably do a better job here on the glass at both ends to get back in this thing.
The attempt there by Colt is blocked out of bounds. It's going to remain Caledon ball.
See, last time they put Caledon ran a shooter to the corner, that ended up unmatched. So we'll see if they go back to the same thing and see what Lincoln does, or if they run something different.
Fulong driving against Hall there from the top for Caledon. 1 second on the shot clock. Caledon unable to get a shot off, though. It's going to be Husky ball.
Yeah, it looked like they all, I think even the bench, they didn't hear much coming there. I think they all lost track of that when the ball got knocked out of bounds. They played as if it was a full clock. So Yeah, one of those ones you kind of hope the bench is going to be your communicator or at least helping in that scenario, but it appeared almost everybody was unaware.
The pass down to Maskowicz, trying to do some work on the block. They're fouled on her attempt. She'll be at the line for 2 more shots.
I like that. You know, Lincoln came down at a bit of a stack, so Becker and Maskowicz were on top of each other. Becker flashes to the high post, draws some defense. Maskowicz with a nice seal to get the ball inside. Then she makes a good move going right towards the rim and just forced the issue in Caledon. They had a fouler, and a good foul in the sense they didn't let the ball get up there on the rim as well too. But credit goes to the offensive player on the seal and move.
Maskowicz able to hit the first. And the second. Extending the lead now 41-22 for the Huskies. Remaining in their press. See if the Cougars can start to figure that out. They get over it this time, but tied up on the other end, Zingaro, and she's going to be called for the travel right there. It's going to be Husky ball.
Yeah, the 9-0 run here to start for Lincoln has really put some heat and separation in this game. At this stage, Caledon will have to make something different happen. We had talked about just controlling the environment some, but at this stage, they're going to change things up and find something different to make a run.
Shot's a little bit too strong, but Becker on the offensive rebound puts it right back in. 2 more points for the Huskies.
So we'll watch. I don't know how much longer Caledon can go before they're like just change up something they're doing, looking for a new answer.
Dodig there trying to break the press. She's going to be fouled by Baliabukubo. It's going to remain Caledon ball. We have Becker and Martindale checking out there for the Huskies. So some new faces in for Lincoln Prep. Baliabukubo, left wing, looking to attack. Over Zingaro, it's no good. Ball's tipped around, and it's going to be off of Granum. Caledon ball.
Yeah, Lincoln's done a nice job of running new bodies into this, keeping the rotation, turning over it, but keeping the same defensive pressure. So it seems like whoever goes on the floor for them right now has the same mentality. They're chasing the ball, they're getting touches on it, they're making things happen, and that just transcends into better chances on offense as well.
Granum kicked out to a Hall. Back to Granum. Over to Skoskin. Gets to the right hand, though. Blocked away by Colt. It's going to remain Lincoln ball. 6 seconds on the shot clock.
Let's see, 6 seconds here. If Lincoln gets something going towards the rim or even inside as the first touch. Try and collapse that defense.
Granum on the block, working against Zingaro. Gets to her left, no good. Doty comes down with the rebound, and there's going to be a reach-in foul there, fighting for the offensive rebound.
Well, they got the touch they wanted. I mean, get it back inside of Granum. She makes another nice little move, puts it up on the rim, doesn't go. Those are the fouls, though. We're usually pretty pro going for offensive rebounds, especially earlier in quarters or when you have fouls to give as an individual. But those ones, when it's wrapped up by the defense, are the ones you always want to keep yourself out of. You don't need that foul right now. You're just pushing it closer to bonus.
Joven looking to attack, tied up there by Baliabukubo. Right back to Caledon, though. Zingaro slings it over half as Caledon's able to break through the pressure. Joven, a little up fake on Granum, able to get around her and finishes with the jumper.
That was a hard-earned bucket. I mean, it got knocked out of her hands in the backcourt. She chased it back down to collect the loose ball, then comes back up for the shot.
Right back the other way. Joven picks up the steal, gets through the lefty layup, no good. Fulong with the follow, it's no good. Again fighting for the rebound, though. Kolp, her pass is a bit off. Skoskin comes down with for the Huskies, and Huskies are off and running. Hall again in transition's able to finish.
Nice job there. They had two. Becker was up there with her on the initial drive. She couldn't find her, so stretched it out. And Becker did a nice job also running to both the Russian spot on the left, so stretched out that defense. And then the third cutter comes down the middle for the dump-off pass.
Okay, Dodig, a little bit off on the spin, but great move there to get right to the rim in transition among 3 Lincoln defenders. Here's Baliabukubo on the right, tied up by Joven, as Joven's going to be called for the foul.
Dodig showed some real creativity here this game. We had the one in the first half with the spin back jumper, and now the spin here down the second half. So gifted little offensive player for Caledon.
Shout out, shout out. Fun fact of the day, Michaela Dodig, who played on the Canadian Junior Women's National Team, older sister of Andrea Dodig, currently starting point guard for the UNB Varsity Reds. Michaela, if you're watching, all the best. The long two there for Becker, stretching the Lincoln Prep lead, now 47-24 for Lincoln over Caledon.
I love the impact Becker's having in so many facets that we touched on earlier, but also just like the composure she seems to have out there. It just looks pretty focused on the next thing and everything that's going on. Good, bad, seems to have the same demeanor. So a big credit to her and the impact she's had here for Lincoln. We touched on that a bit earlier as well too, but I think it's been a huge addition and what's going to be a pretty big run for them.
The pass here from Dodig goes a bit too high for Miss Brown. It's out of bounds. Lincoln comes up with it. Skosen driving, finds Becker on the right corner. The long two is good. Becker filling it up here tonight.
Yeah, great looking stroke. I mean, she's shooting the ball really well. She's just making a lot of different things happen. So Lincoln's got to be pleased. And I think the real, the question, not that it's a great question to have. People were unsure how to get both Becker and Maskowicz involved. Two new faces, and then if they had both some versatile
West Coast connection.
West Coast connection. So a lot of questions of how you integrate them both, and they just seem to have gone seamlessly, both having an impact, and Lincoln's done a nice job of letting them both go to their strengths as well.
Little confusion it looked like there on the Caledon side. His ball was knocked around. It's going to be Lincoln ball out of bounds off the Cougars. Here comes Hall bringing it down for the Huskies. Tipped out of bounds. Lincoln ball. Oh, no. And we're still here. Just a little technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. No worries. We'll get there. In the meantime, we have a long three from Johnson in the corner, a bit too strong. Doty comes down with the defense rebound for the Cougars. Right back the other way. Chauvin, the up fake on Hall. Kick back out to Fulong. Her three's just off, and Lincoln retains it. Though coming back. Johnson on the left wing's unable to convert the layup at the rim, but Grantham again fighting for the O board. Finds that cutting Hall, and her layup just a bit short. Caledon ball tipped out of bounds off Lincoln.
Yeah, to go back a couple plays, the one Jovan had in transition. Really like that play by her to get down to the paint, draw some defenders, kick it back out for the three. But in a real ideal world, the next step you'd want for her is to be able to go in there and then keep her dribble alive. Even if she retreats herself a little bit, it gives her that option to potentially retreat and then re-attack.
Dodig down the other way, tied up there. And it's going to be stolen away by Lincoln. And then coming back the other way, Jovan goes for the steal, but catches Skoskin on the attempt. It's going to be foul on Jovan. Husky ball.
Now, those are frustrating sometimes for the athletes. Not that it's a foul or not, but just that things aren't going your way. You're trying to get the ball back, and then into fouling. It's almost like a compounding effect of frustration in between a couple plays. Kind of a nice job there, rolling off that top ball screen right to the defense. She kind of used her body to seal that. Between that pass where it was and her catch there, they had to work her way to eliminate that dribble. That dribble, her trying to catch that and continue going forward, just is too much time to keep herself out of trouble.
Banton's long baseline jumper was no good. Fighting for the offensive rebound. We're going to have a foul on Dodig on the back of the Lincoln defender, so it's going to be Husky ball. That foul on Dodig was going to be the fifth team foul, so we're going to have two shots at the other end for Lincoln. Gucker Wiki to the line. able to convert the first.
Lincoln now has a chance. They've done such a great job with pressure all game long. They now have a chance to try out maybe anything different or secretive they have in the bag, or just even like little variations to the pressure they've had. So we might see some different lineups. We might see some different combinations of who's playing which spots out there. But you can continue to press, but just try those little wrinkles you might need later on if someone figures out a seam to what you're doing.
Skoskin tied up, comes away with it. There's Rain for driving. Johnson now a deep three from the right wing, a little bit too strong. Fight for the rebound. Granham comes up with it. Lincoln continuing to fight for the offensive rebound and come up with second chance. Good job, Caledon, to break through the pressure that time. Joven a little tied up, though. Dribbles it off her foot, and the ball goes over to Lincoln. Skoskin, a nice pass there to Granham around the Caledon defender. Granham shot's a little bit off. Caledon comes down with the ball.
And his pace has gone back to what it felt like early in the game, which I think was really advantageous for Lincoln. They just kind of opened it up.
They get it to Dodig at the high post. Her floater's blocked there by Granham. Again, a fight for the rebound. Dodig's able to tip it out to Fanton. Her pass is then tipped away by Skoskin. And it's going to go off of Jovin. Lincoln prep ball.
Yeah, it feels like this, like I said, the pace has gone back to probably what Lincoln preferred at the start of the game. And what that really does just kind of takes Caledon of everything they're trying to do. And I think you've got, 11 more minutes here, the score being what it is. But we've got 11 minutes against Lincoln, and I'm sure Caledon's going to use all 11 of those to continue to get better, put the things in they're trying to do to get themselves ready for the bigger games at the end of the season. So you can't miss this opportunity against a favorite in the OSBA. You've got to capitalize on all 11 minutes. And the first step is going to be getting back to control this pace.
A three by Baliabiakubo off another offensive rebound, and she makes them pay. Jackson's pass over the top of the defense is a bit too far for Brown's reach. It's going to be out of bounds going to Lincoln.
I think the Caledon bench is debating so close to the third quarter if it's worth a timeout now to try and make so many changes, or they're going to try and rise into the third quarter. But you saw some instruction coming to the players on the floor, and they're probably just going to try and make some sort of a slight adjustment here, or something can be a change. But they just got to get the ball over half is really their key criteria at this stage.
Dodig tied up there trying to break the press. It's going to be jump ball going to Lincoln.
Yeah, and Lincoln's doing a real nice job just continuing to come. And like we said for both sides, like Caledon's going to use this, and I'm sure they are going to use the last 10 minutes as an enhanced practice. Like really go through things, try and get yourself better. But the same thing's going to apply for Lincoln, as we touched on. You can try some different looks, people in different spots. It's an evaluation and evolution of what you're doing. And
again, Baliabiakubo is able to convert from long range. 3 more points for Lincoln. With that last basket, we're going to have a timeout. Caledon is going into the timeout. We have the score 57 Lincoln, 24 for Caledon.
Yeah, so we touched on 30 seconds ago probably, Caledon was wrestling with this. Like, can we make it to the end of the third quarter? And I think with the way this quarter's gone, they're probably trying to salvage this last 30. So they wrote it out for one more possession. It didn't go the way they wanted. And they're going to take the timeout and try and talk about just that. What's another look we can have? And last time they did this, they came back with something really, really great I like. They got Dodig in the front court. They were able to make a couple passes and get her the ball in the front. We'll see now if they have the same comfort. They're going to need some people in the backcourt that can handle the pressure they're facing from Lincoln and can make the decisions to get the ball up there. On the flip of that, Lincoln's done as anyone would probably anticipate. They've showed some different faces at the front, and I bet that will continue. We'll probably see a lot of different people playing places they're a little unaccustomed to for Lincoln, and it's just part of the evaluation process of who can do what, and what better scenario than to test that out than in a live setting versus a team like Caledon.
Great, and 30 seconds remaining here in the third. We have the leading scorers for each team. Dodig with 16 still. Becker for the Huskies with 16 as well.
So 25 to 2 quarter there right now going.
Yeah.
Pretty big statement, I guess, for Lincoln if you're trying to make that statement going to halftime.
Just out of reach there as the tough breaks continue for Caledon in this third quarter. See if they can get a stop here late.
I think they had a script going that time for the break. It's just too bad that pass got away. They're going to go sideline, then a cutter through the middle. It would have been cool to see what was next on that.
Lincoln working it around the perimeter. Get it to Rainford down low. Nice little post move. It's off, but they're going to be called for the foul. So Rainford will be at the line for 2.
Yeah, smaller lineup for Lincoln, but I love that when you post up some guards. Just, you know, the size of your player doesn't matter. Often it's the matchup and the footwork of the offensive player. And Rainford, when they did a nice job getting wide, present an area to get the ball, got it, moved to the right. But we gave Becker some credit early in the game for challenging shots at a release point. And this was an example where Caledon kind of went to the ball, trying to get it from Rainford while she was making a move. She was still scooping. They're hitting her down low. So that's when we want to wait for the release point so you don't get that foul on the post move.
Rainford able to hit the first, but a little bit off in the second. Johnson's going to be called for a foul there, attacking the offensive glass.
Yeah,
So
go for those ones.
14 seconds left. We have a 34-point lead for Lincoln here. Dodig attacking, gets to her knees, but still finds a cutter. They kick around, find Jackson for the long jumper. It's no good, but it's going to remain Caledon ball. 3 seconds left in the quarter time. They look to find Brown posting down low. Passes a little bit off. So at the end of 3, we have your Lincoln Prep Huskies 58, Caledon Cougars 24.
Yeah, fairly definitive and I guess defining quarter of the game though for Lincoln. When you go 26-2, we'll put most things away, and you know, credit to them coming out of halftime. Clearly, they had made a couple more adjustments, and they'd gone back to the pressure they started in.
Yeah.
And were able to ramp that up, and then they, you know, Becker shot the lights out for the quarter as well, which is great. And unfortunate for Caledon, they could never really get anything going. 26-2 quarter sounds and feels just like the score reflects.
It's not great. Let's see, though, if Caledon can come out. They got out of the third. Fourth, it's a new quarter. Let's go out there, try some new things, chip away.
Yeah, I mean,
come away with their heads high.
You get in these scenarios, I think, for both teams, and you really got to keep your focus. It's a test for the athletes and the coaches sometimes as well, too, that got to stay focused. It's still always about the process. It's still about every possession, and you're never going to get a better scenario of 10 minutes to improve than you will in this against somebody else. Like, you play your own team day in and day out, and you'll never be able to simulate this type of scenario. So you've got to capitalize on this. If you lose any intensity or focus on this, you're wasting what's a golden opportunity for 10 more minutes.
Hashtag trust the process. So coming out to start the fourth for the Huskies, we have Ballia de Kubo, Rainford, Martindale, Johnson, and Guckerwicki. For Caledon, we have Dodig, Fulong, Kolb, Zingaro, and Malinauskas. It's going to be Caledon ball to start the fourth. There's that little jump zone we saw early from the Lincoln. They went away from it, and then Dodig's able to handle it there, picking up a foul on Martindale, trying to trap in the corner.
Yeah, I think it's a win for both teams. Lincoln, I think, surprised them, probably what they were going for. They did a nice job of coming out of the timeout in a little trap, but Dodig did a real nice job of attacking that, getting the trap moving. So she didn't let them come to her and close her off. She pushed it to the sideline as they formed that direction. She then retracted back out of it and was able to attack one side of it and draw the foul. So credit to her for a nice play in a bad situation.
Coming out of the next, off that last sideline, they got it to Zingaro low in the corner, and she was fouled by Rainford. So 2 quick fouls here for the Huskies. Dodig on the right wing, slings the pass over to Malinauskas. Back to Fulong for the top 3, and it's good.
Good ball movement. You get a skip across the floor, then one more quick one usually results in a pretty good shot.
So Iwakubo driving, and again is able to finish with the little floater.
She's almost unassuming sometimes. I feel like every time you watch her play, she could just look like she's not going to be much of a threat on you. Then she just turns down. She's done about 3 or 4 times a day, just turns downhill, gets right into the middle of the paint.
And points in a quick. She has 8 points already this second half, so she can fill it up. Dodig the other way with a little pull-up action, a little bit off. The fight for the rebound, though, it's going to be a foul there on Culp. It's going to remain with the Huskies.
So Caledon came back with the same little trap themselves, so clearly they had talked about that in the 10-minute break there as well. Lincoln came over first time instead offense, ran the 2 top ones. So both teams showing some little traps and disruptions, seeing what they can play around with here in the fourth quarter.
Yakubo driving, kicks out to Rainford for a deep 3, and it's good.
It's been the way the game's gone. I think anything Caledon's got going, Lincoln always responds immediately.
Only 5 looking to check in for the Huskies. And just at the last time out, we had a few Lincoln Husky players arrive from a field trip. So we have Pockernick and Tar and and Reed all arrive for the Huskies. So we see Pockernick and McMillan. So we have Pockernick and McMillan checking in for the first time. Right away, we see Pockernick come up with an early steal for the Huskies. Let's see how they integrate the players coming right off the bench and into the action. The ball's going to be tipped off of Maskowicz there. It's going to be Caledon ball.
Yeah, that's a nice pass for a timing and feel for your teammate. Maskowicz was flat with the drive there right on the baseline, but as the ball was relieving her hand, at the same time she was cutting to the front of the rim, ball arrived on time on spot. Just I think there was a hand tip on it that Maskowicz couldn't control, but the timing in between those two was a real nice little feel.
Dodig working on Maskowicz, gets to her left hand, but it's tipped away by Granum. Nice little pump fake there from Kolb. It's no good, but Zingaro with the offensive rebound put back. Foul there by Maskowicz. She'll be at the line for 2.
Yeah, Caledon's got some nice young pieces to work with over the bit, and I really got to like that one. You get an offensive rebound, and I think you can work tirelessly. I think all coaches would agree that you catch a rebound up there, then trying to get the player to keep it high and go as Zingaro did, but she did it beautifully. Caught it high, kept it high, went right towards the rim. That puts a lot of pressure on Maskowicz. She has no time to time anything. She's got to get her hands in there. So if you can keep it up, it's most commonly a foul.
Zingaro able to convert the first and the second. Her first 2 points of the ball game. So here's McMillan, just arrived for the Huskies. Pockernick out to McMillan. The deep 3 is a little bit too strong. Rebound Caledon. Tipped out of bounds there by McMillan. It's going to remain with the Cougars. Again, we have that Hall-Dodig matchup at the top. Dodig working on Hall. Tied up there, and the handoff going to Malinauskas as Hall jumped out to defend. She's going to be called for the charge.
Yeah, I looked like Hall did a good job of selling that as well, too. But really the key was that she got up, and as soon as the ball was handed off, got both feet up above the level of the basketball. And I think a lot of times that's what the referee's looking for. If they're coming this direction towards us where we're sitting on the floor, Hall had both feet above the level of the basketball, so it was going straight into her. Sell it or not sell it, she was in the right position.
Little zone here from Caledon. It's able to force the turnover from Maskowicz. Nice little defensive switch up there for the Cougars. The long 3 for Fulong, a little bit too strong. Zingaro fighting for the rebound, though, and she comes up with it. Dodig working on Maskowicz. The little step back is a bit short. It's going to remain. Nope, it's going to go to the Huskies. And McMillan hits the 3 to get herself on the scoreboard.
Yeah, the second half has just been a shooting display here for Lincoln. I mean, it's always a bit easier when things are feeling good. The basket looks a little bigger, but they've really capitalized on the momentum here in the second half.
Hall again, great defense on that handoff as she's able to force the turnover. Her pass is a little bit off though for Pockernick, so it's going to be Caledon ball.
I agree with you, Max. I mean, Hall continues, the handoff's happening. She's just jumping way on top of that, and I think the only way you counter something like that is you're going to get at least one possession where you split it and cause her some trouble, some sort of slip or split, something going to the basket, because right now she's totally above the ball. I mean, it's blowing up all the things they're doing on the handoff action, and this might be a great chance for Caledon to talk about that in a timeout.
Coming out of the timeout for Caledon, we have Fulong, Dodig, Joven, White, and Zingaro. For the Huskies, we have Pockernick, McMillan, Granum, Tarrant, and Maskowicz. Joven driving against the defense from Pockernick. She's a little tied up. Retains it though, 20 on the shot clock. Dodig's floater is a little bit off. Comes down to the Huskies.
Dodig with a nice floater in there too. Zingara had probably a chance to step right to the rim as that was happening. Her defender had stepped over to help on that and challenge. Her job now is probably take one step with her closest foot to the rim, so she's in range where she can catch, pivot, and lay it in.
Maskowicz able to get right to the rim, and she finishes with 2.
Yeah, Maskowicz looks her best when she catches and is right into something. She's done a real nice job on catch, rip, and go type actions.
Joven gets around Maskowicz and is able to finish with the foul.
So a better fourth here thus far for Caledon, and I mean, part of it is they got themselves out of the turnovers, which is a big key there in that third quarter run.
Joven able to convert the 3-point play.
That lineup confused a lot of people on the floor, and including myself. It seems to have continued here.
Pockernick's pass for Maskowicz is tipped away by Dodig. She comes the other way. Gets to the left hand, no good, but Fulong is right there for the follow.
Tough one for Maskowicz there. She, on the roll action they had with Granum, she came high, but Dodig just kind of muscled her off the path line. Then she kind of ran through the shot challenge at the other end, taking herself out of the play for the rebound.
Maskowicz on the wing, driving against Fulong, gets into the key, finds Granum down low, unable to convert, puts up a second attempt, but it's no good. Caledon comes up with it, and Fulong gets around Maskowicz. Maskowicz from behind, though, is able to come back with the steal.
Yeah, Maskowicz, nice job chasing that play, staying with it and running that thing down from behind.
Great full court pass there to Granum, but unable to convert. Caledon comes right back the other way. Dodig's pass to White. She's unable to convert. Dodig fighting for the O board. It's tipped right out. It's going to be Lincoln ball.
Yeah, maybe it's the angle we're sitting on. I don't know how Dodig got that in there, though. It looked like there was nothing left, but
Magic. It's
yeah,
magic.
I mean, tough pass. Great pass. Great touch to get it into her player, put her right in a spot to get a chance to finish before the defense can come over.
We have some big height here for Lincoln, putting it on a tall lineup with Becker running the 1, Maskowicz, Granum, Reed, and Taran all posts in the game for the Huskies. Reed's three is a little bit off. On the follow, Taran passing to Reed at the high post is picked off by Dodig, who goes the other way and is able to finish with a little finger roll.
Yeah, nice. So they've jumped to that passing lane twice now. As they had Maskowicz once and then Reed on this one as well. When the Lincoln players coming high, Dodig just jumping through that line and being a little more assertive.
Here's Granum to Taran at the top for three, and she's able to hit.
Well, Lincoln with an all-small lineup here to start the quarter. Now they got an all-big lineup, so we'll see if they change some other pieces on offense with different personnel.
Dodig, the kick back to Brown, a little bit off. Dodig again fighting for the offensive rebound, but it's going to be tipped off her out of bounds.
I would have guessed that Lincoln put on the all-big lineup to see how they could do zone-wise. That length would give them a look at different times this year, too, and wouldn't be surprised if we see some different pieces of that here the next couple of minutes with this lineup out there.
Maskowicz, a great pass to Reed, right down low. She's going to be fouled. She'll be at the line for two.
Yeah, Caledon got a little pulled out there, so Maskowicz, nice awareness. I mean, they lost somebody, obviously, and Reed stepped right to the rim. That's where you want to go if you're unguarded.
Reed. Able to hit the first. And hits the second. Lincoln going into little man now. New look for Caledon. Let's see how they respond. Fulong, the deep three over Becker, just a bit too strong. Rebound comes out to Reed, and Dodig ties her up there underneath. It's going to remain with the Huskies.
Yeah, but both athletes, though, probably pleased with that. You go chase down a rebound, they fight for the ball. I think those are the things you look for in these types of games. We talked about making the most of these 10 minutes, and those are the things that would show that athletes are still competing and capitalizing on this opportunity.
Dodig goes to pick off the steal there to the front pass to Maskowicz, unable to do so. Huskies right back the other way. Taran misses a three, but Granum's right there on the doorstep for the putback two.
Yeah, she earned that one. I feel like that's been a game's worth of her fighting inside there for offensive rebounding position. So very deserving of that. Easy two.
There's Brown working on Maskowicz, unable to convert with the left. Huskies come back the other way. Maskowicz gets ahead of steam. Cut off there by the Caledon defender. Her pass for Becker somehow gets through. Her attempt's no good, but Reed right there again for the follow.
Yeah, I guess this will be a big plus to this lineup. Obviously, you go this size, you got to hope they're going to go to the offensive glass and give you some extra opportunities. They've done that the last two.
Dodig's pass there, tipped by Reed and then picked off by Tarrant. Right back the other way as Tarrant's pass is tipped out of bounds by Malinauskas. It's going to be Husky ball on the baseline.
So Dodig makes the right read on that one, comes off this towards the top, pulls both defenders all the way to the middle of the floor, then tries to get that ball back to the space they've left. Just Reed does an even better job of keeping the window closed down and gets her arms in the way.
They find Reed on the block, who kicks out for Skoskin. Her three a bit off. Becker again with the offensive rebound, though. Her attempt's no good. Fighting for another rebound. Becker comes up with it. Finds a cutting Maskowicz lefty, no good. Caledon right back the other way. Jackson's attempt was no good from the left-hand side. Lincoln comes back the other way. They have Becker on the left side. Finds Skoskin. Drives in the key. Her layup's no good. Caledon ball.
Yeah, I can feel Skoskin coming back from what she has on the injury front. You can feel the excitement of the bench, want to see her get that bucket. It's been, it's always a long path coming back from those things. So I think there's a lot of excitement for her return and play.
Brown, her shot there is a little bit too strong. Becker comes down with it, and she's going the other way. It's tipped out of bounds there by Fanton. Lincoln trying to run through of their sets here. Caledon goes to a 1-3-1 zone, but they lose Maskowicz at the bottom. She's open and finishes for 2.
Yeah, they got it pulled a little high that there's some, I mean, this is the time when you try some different looks on defense, but there was definitely some confusion on responsibilities. There's too many bodies high, no one in the middle or low. So Maskowicz was standing all alone besides the rim, and this is the quarter where you try that stuff. That's the second time here that's happened. So certainly some things for them to take from this experience and build back into their repertoire for next week.
Dodig still with the pressure against Skoskin. Becker's pass to Taran. It's Skoskin, the deep 3 from the top. It's no good. The offensive rebound follow lands in the hand of Maskowicz, and she's able to go right to the rim for 2. Dodig driving again right to the key. Challenge there by Reed, so it's no good, but they're able to get the rebound. Jackson, a deep 3. No good. Maskowicz comes up with it. Huskies coming the other way. Reed takes a shot with 2 seconds remaining on the game. It's no good. And that does it.
You could hear the bench there sometimes. Different people have different philosophies on this, but kind of calling for a no shot there at the end. But you know, a lot of teams will just play it out. You play out the game, and some teams feel if you have the lead, you shoot to the last one. So
got a little bit caught up in the action there. Couldn't hear the coach.
Yeah, well, like I said, different people think different things. For me, I think just go ahead and play out the game. It's no big deal. If they beat us and they score one more bucket, it's irrelevant.
Okay, well, so at the end of the 4th, it's 81 Lincoln, 36 Caledon. Leading scorers for the game, we have Becker and Dodig. Join us next. The next game of the week is this Friday. We have Southwest visiting Ottawa, taking on Louis Riel and Capitol Courts. Tune in. We'd love to see you there.